All right, so as you come in the car, you open the door, get your step to help you get in because it's a little bit of a step up, so don't worry about this. You can put all your weight on it. You can step in. That's how you get in the car. When you shut the door, close it, then we get a retract on the leg goes back up. All right, so I'm gonna go over the basics of the car, how to use everything. So obviously steering wheel, your horn is right in the middle as it is on most cars. Your blinker is the first bar up, down, pretty standard. Thing to remember with this, it's a little bit confusing. This centerpiece is not engaged. This is where the four-wheel drive used to be. This is disengaged, you can't change any gears. Your gear shifter is up here. So you know, you want to pull towards you, and then you can shift into the different gears, which I'll go over when the car's on. So then starting from this side here, you've got your lights. You pull those out, push them back in. You got your emergency flashers if you need them. You got windshield wipers. Those actually turn left and right if you want them on. You're really not going to need the heat. There's a lot of heat blowing out of the engine, but if you do, you can turn the heater fan on and move these around a little bit to get the temperature. We've got a Bluetooth enabled radio. It's retro sound. If it asks you for a code, it's 0000. It may or it may not. You've got your little center compartment in here. I left, you know, your car registrations in here if you need it. All right, so to start the car, this is probably the most important thing other than the fuel that you want to remember with the car. So when you first put the key in the ignition, you go straight in and you turn it a quarter to the right, and you're going to hear this buzz. It's about 10 seconds. That's the fuel injector. Once it starts, then you turn and start the car. Pretty much the most important thing starting is you have to let that fuel injection do its thing, and then you're free to start. Once you're there, you just let it warm up for 5 minutes, 10 minutes if it's cold. If not cold, you just go, and you should be all set. One other thing I just want to remind you on the driving piece, when you come down here on the gears, in case you haven't used the transmission like this, one down is reverse, next down is neutral, and then drive. And you'll feel it engage. I just want, in case you haven't driven one of these cars, that's how you engage the vehicle. The last thing is the fuel. Probably the second most important thing. Here's your fuel gauge right here. It's active. I'll leave it with a full tank. It's a 22-gallon tank. You have to use premium fuel. Very important with this car, with these engines. And I'm going to show you how to fill it up. So you come out here. Right here is your fuel gauge, your fuel tank, excuse me. You roll it off to the left, take it out. The thing you want to remember though is if you just run this the way you run our cars today and you hope that it's going to stop when it's full, it's not going to stop. It'll keep coming out. So figure a 20-gallon tank, you could put in 10 if it's at a half. I don't need it filled up to the brim when you bring it back, just as close as you can without going over like the price is right. I'm going to show you how to put the top on, put it off. I don't think you want to do this every hour, every day. I'd keep it off if you have a nice weather window. So first thing you want to do is we try to make it as easy as possible. The top piece is Velcro. You have a zipper on the driver's side. So what you want to do is just simply start by unzipping. And go all the way through the other side. I'm going to cut around and show you how to take it off from that side. It's obviously best if you have a friend helping you with this. So you want to leave that in. So now everything is free from here. And I'm going to show you on the other side what we want to do. Here you've got pretty much all the tension for the top is on these two brackets. So what I like to do is come here first, and you can just see it. Just simply, it kind of slides in. You release the tension on this side, which if you see now everything's loose over here. And I'm going to come around and do this end, the tension. So now everything's soft and kind of be moved around. what you want to do here, now that we're in the back, is these pieces, they just kind of slide out. Just so you see how they're, let you come in a little bit. Why don't you see how these work? Is they tend to fold under, and there's a lip right here. So when you're putting the top back on, you want to just get that lip and slide it under. So the key here is you fold it, and that fold goes underneath, and that's how it's secured. So all we're going to do here is, this side is loose. I'm going to come on this side. We're going to do the same thing. So you can see everything's loose here. We're going to unsnap the snaps over here, unsnap the 2 top snaps, which will release more snaps, which just snap onto this bar. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's, you can see right there on the underneath. So that's how it's secured. The snaps just simply come around, and I'll show you when we put it back on, you'll get a much better feel for that. So from there, this comes down. This piece comes down. I'm going to show you one thing is when the top is off, if you want to use the trunk space here, it's pretty simple. You just pull this bar out. This comes down. But when you close it, you don't just slam it. You actually need to pull this out, and then it closes all the way. All right, so now that everything is loose and disconnected from there, the last piece is right here. There's the same sort of positioning where you have to just slightly pull out from underneath the door, and you can see it's that same lip that goes right in here as we had in the back. So you do it on this side. Now the top is completely free. Now you have a couple choices. With this, if you have a garage and you're going to keep the top off for a few days, you can take this piece out, which comes out right on the door here, and then it connects back in over here. Then this piece comes out from here, and you can see it reconnects in there. Then what you'll simply do is take the vinyl, you can fold it up, put it in the back. If you'd like, you could even take this piece out in the back here, which simply disconnects. Those will come in nicely in the back of the trunk. So you really have a lot of options as to how much. If you want to go fully topless, you take it all off, you put these in, you take these two, you take this door panel, and you can actually take these off, and you can store them in the back, or you can store them in your garage if you have it for a few days. All right, so now we're going to go through what you want to do to put the top back on. So if the top is fully braless, you really just want to take it out and loosely lay it on top. These are going to be over here. This will sort of be hanging loosely on the top. There's no tension on any of the bars. The first thing you want to do after these door handles are in is just like I said before, you want to come in, fold this under, and then just work it into these little brackets until they're nice and snug. So that's the first one. Make sure that the pin is in the hole here, and that the pin is in the hole up here, and that the pin is connected here. So now everything's pretty solid. So now we're going to move into the back. We're going to take these. This is the next part. Excuse me. Before you do these, you want to reconnect the snaps. So what I like to do is you push this bar, and you can see the snaps are on the underside here. So we're going to push this back. You can kind of hope we get a good shot of that, but there's this little sort of lip that you want to fold it under the top. You can move it a little bit. Make sure you get them all snapped up. There's one. Getting the first one's a little tough. You put a little pressure on there. And then we're going to just simply go through, and we're going to have all 6 of them snapped. So the last part on the snaps is you go over the bar and under. So now these are secured by the bar. You just simply snap over here. You do the same thing on this side. Snap those secure. So now the top is secure on those sides. Now, again, take these back, you can kind of see how it starts to angle, but underneath, you've got one. Remember I told you, you just want to fold it back in. You just slide it under there. You're gonna kind of ring it around the corner. Slide it up. And it catches on the other end. So that's the one side. Now we're just gonna come over here. And this side you can actually see has this is more of a hard piece of plastic. That just catches right under there. I hope you can see that. And then you fold this, you hold the right-hand side, you fold it, everything's snapped in there. And the last piece that you want is now you just want to put the tension back on. So to get the tension back on here, you just simply push that forward. We're gonna go around to the other side. You just see here, you just simply go forward there. So now everything is secure, everything's in place. And now the last part is to work our way back up to the front. We're gonna re-zipper. So to come back up here, it's pretty simple with the piece here. So once everything's connected, you just simply work the zipper. We'll get it all the way across. Work the Velcro up here. Come around. We'll finish up the zip ring. On this side, you do want to make sure that this is sort of roughly on center, that white thing is at the end, which it's not currently, but we'll fix that, because that's what keeps the top center clean. You work the thing so that everything's tight, and you just simply, the last step is to make sure that these are in place. And you simply tighten up all the tension. The last thing you want to do, make sure this is here, make sure it's good. Not so easy peasy, but that's how you put the top up and down.